And we're recording. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Film Field NFL. I'm Jack. This is Shane. Shane, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I have a feeling we're friends right now, but I'm not sure where we'll be at the end of this video. I think there might be some blood spilled.
Man, just don't be weird with this one. Like, keep it real, keep it simple. This is a receiver episode. We're going to be going through top tens of all positions. We're going to start off with receiver because it's my favorite position. So it's also the one that I think you can have the most difference and variety of with your list. But like the top four should be pretty solidified. Yeah, it's kind of where I lean. I think there's like 20 receivers in the league where it's like there's kind of a case for them to be really really high,
Right.
like there is a like we're in like a pretty big renaissance of like really good receiver play. And so it's like I'd get it if at your 10 or your 9 spot you've got like a kind of an obscure guy where you're like, I kind of think he could be here. So there's a few options
Yeah.
in here that I would have included if it weren't for injury, so I'm gonna like mention them as like honorable
Oh,
mentions.
okay.
It just
Okay.
kind
So a
of
little
depends how you
caveat
look
here that
at
I
it.
did not have when making my list. So
You
that's
know, you
good.
don't have to. It kind of like some guys on here are here regardless of injury, but it's like some of them. It's like I'll explain as we get in depth. But yeah,
Fair enough. I think that if anything, this list will prove that there's a lot of really good receivers at the pro level right now. Like it is the 1% of the 1%. And you are in good shape if you like watching receiver play. That's
yeah.
for sure.
It's always nice when you have a take on something and you see someone have like the same thing and you're like, okay, I'm not alone. Okay, I'm not alone. I remember I was watching Stay Hot's top 10 receivers because they do like go through the list too. And Theo had like two guys where I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. Thank you for saying that. And I'll mention them as they go along because I was like, okay, I'm not going overboard then. But we'll start off with number one because
You
I
want to
don't
go
know.
one? You want to go 1 to 10 and not 10 to 1?
Because I think 1 through 4 is a little bit more
That's fair. That's
obvious. You know what I
fair.
mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. We might
Well,
have a
let's.
different order on the first four, but I feel like we'll have the same names. Maybe one
Yes.
will be off, like that I'll still have in my top 10 or you'll still have in your top 10, But for the
Yeah.
most part, these should be very similar.
Well, let's see. Number one, I feel like this has been the number one in the league for since 2021 to me. Uh, it's Justin Jefferson.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Is that where you went as well?
That is exactly where I went as well. I mean, is there some debate for who's at number two? I assume on both of our lists.
I
Sure,
I
but
think I honestly think it wouldn't have been that crazy for someone to lean like JSN or Chase at one, just because I do think all three of those guys right now are pretty interchangeable.
sure.
I just think Jefferson has been the most consistent out of all these guys, and it just I think we're past the point of like when you talk about receivers like this, you wonder like what's going to be that big crazy year for them, right? And all three of
Mm-hmm.
these guys have had that big
Mm-hmm.
crazy year. Jefferson, JSN, and Chase all have had that crazy year, but
Mm-hmm.
Jefferson has had it to that point where it like you stop thinking about him as a player ascending because he's already just like probably going to go down as like one of the best all time. Like we're already at
Easily.
the yeah
Easily.
we're already at conversations of all time. Like I don't want to even get to where he ranks for me all time because
Yeah,
it's
well, like we don't have to get into that right now, but I will say, like, look what he's done, but also look what he's done with the quarterbacks that he's had, right? Like these other guys that you could have put up there, like JSN, I guess the body of work's a little bit smaller, so you don't really know long term if it really, we'll talk about that a little bit later once we get to him. But essentially, like with Jamar Chase, right? He's had times where he has been not necessarily invisible, but a lot less noticeable because of the quarterback play that's going on alongside him. Jefferson's always shines, regardless of who's throwing the ball or what's happened in the game. Like he finds a way to make his name known in that game. There's a reason every corner in the NFL mentions him as their number one. Like
right.
this guy's insane.
Yeah, 100%. Like with Jefferson, I mean, ever since 2020, I've always talked about that. I think that he's like an elite illusionist, where he is so good at faking his body language, because all of his routes look the same because of his stride length. his stride length, his legs are so long that it's not about necessarily like this insane built up acceleration, even though he is very fast, but it's about his stride length never decreases. So if he's breaking on a stem or breaking on an in breaker, like his stride length stays the same. You know what I mean? So he's going up and he's still moving at that same pace. And so it's like, it's the reason he's so elite. Like he is such a smooth and controlled athlete, and obviously like dominant with his hands,
Yep.
obviously dominant at the catch point. And truly like, I wouldn't say he's the best route runner in the league because there's a guy that I think is number one, but he's definitely number two, easily number two. Um, but like, I mean, like it's hard to have the conversation because it's like everyone at this point kind of knows how incredible he is. Like we're past that. Like I remember when he was my wide receiver one in 2020, but it wasn't because I had some incredible hindsight. It just was because I didn't really know what I was talking about. But I was like watching the tape and I was like, this guy's legit. So it's like he was my number one receiver that year.
I can live with that.
He was my number one receiver that year, but I can't even act like I knew something everyone didn't because I really just did. Like I was like, he looks cool on the highlight tape.
What was he cooking?
Yeah, but then throughout 2020, I was like, when people were like Devontae Adams is number one in the league, I was pushing Jefferson. Like I was pushing like that in the 2021 season before he had the big, huge, massive year. Like I was constantly pushing. So I've been like Jefferson's number one fan forever. Like I've been on that, you know. But I do think he still is number one. I just don't think that's really going to change for a while. Like I get it, JSN and Chase are very close. Maybe that'll change with them. Maybe one of them goes absurd. You know what I mean? I think Jefferson's the
Right.
most consistent.
Right.
But
So
yeah,
who do you have at your number two then?
number two is JSN. That's what I've got for my number two. Who do you
Okay,
have
so
at two?
I obviously have Chase as my number two.
That's
based
fine
on
though.
my
I
reaction.
get that. Like these three are like unbelievably close. You know what I mean? Like that. I thought about Chase at two.
I guess the reason I lean Chase at this time is just the body of work, the amount of time that's been done. I don't want to go too much recency bias with my choices
We can talk
here.
about Chase. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and I think that he's established himself like before getting paid, after getting paid, as a guy that's going to be a threat for a long time. And you know, obviously, JSN just had an insane season, you know, undeniably, and I think he's also rocketed up some boards here. But I don't think that he necessarily stood out an insane amount when you compare him to Jamar Chase, when you compare him to a Justin Jefferson, you know. But I do think he's absolutely earned the right to be in those discussions. I just think I need one more season before I put him above someone like a Jamar Chase.
So just on the topic of Chase, like, yeah, Chase is incredible. Like his yards after catch is easily the best in the entire league.
Easily.
He's a great contested catcher. He's become a much more refined route runner. Like him and Jefferson are already in like Hall of Fame all time conversations. Like we're past any of this other stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's where we're at now. It really isn't a matter. It's not a matter of being lower on Chase for me with JSN. It's just a matter of being really that high on JSN. So like I said, all three of these guys are like really close. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm like JSN's better than Chase, and I'm not really gonna take up arguments about it. It's like, no, I honestly I could have woken up and felt differently. Like it really is that close for all three of these guys.
Yeah.
I just think they bring different skill sets. But with in the case of Jamar Chase, I think unbelievably dominant ball winner, unbelievably like explosive play rate kind of guy. I mean, it's hard to really have a conversation about him because it's very obvious. Like it's like, yeah, like he's just this good. I don't. There's not much else to say about him. I guess the most interesting thing is just I would say I want to see him in an offense that truly gets to throw him around the deployment a little bit more. And he did get the big year last year when he had the Triple Crown, which was awesome. They finally moved
the Emerald
around.
City Route Artist.
No, I'm talking about Chase.
Oh, yeah. I was like thinking you were talking about JSN for some reason.
No. I'm talking about Chase last year when he had the Triple Crown.
Okay.
Yeah.
I missed that transition. My bad.
No, but like, yeah, no, I think he's truly incredible. So it's like they could have been interchangeable. In the case of JSN, the reason I have JSN over Chase is just because I do think that JSN, I've always felt that JSN had this kind of ability. I just think obviously it was more about, oh, they only deploy him as mostly a slot, but it was like he obviously can do vertical stuff. Like it really was obvious. I think he is one of the best prospects I've seen, and I really do hold him to that degree. I think his body control is incredible. I think his route running is the best in the league. The best in the league. I mean, you cannot at all figure out what route he's running. You cannot. You absolutely cannot. Like, if you started a video and you wanted to see what route he was running, you would have to assume. There's no part of there literally is no part of his body language that gives you any kind of tell. If you were right about the route he ran, it's because you assumed it was like a slant or something. Like you genuinely cannot figure out his body language whatsoever. I think his body language is unbelievably elite. I think his fluidity is incredible. I think his contested catching is actually incredibly underrated. I think he's not the guy that's go over top and dominate, but he's the guy that like kind of vacuum seals it to himself. If somebody's draped over him, he's just going to allow them to be there and let the ball tracking. He allows his ball tracking to become his contested catching. Because if there's a guy over him, he's not going to leap up for the ball. He's just going to wait for this guy to be off just the littlest bit and just let it fall right into his hands, right? He's not going to leap up top. He's not going to jump up top. He's just going to let it like literally fall into him. And no one can do anything about it because his hands are so unbelievably late. You don't know where he is, right? Like his tracking is just that incredible. Like I think he's the best ball tracker and the best route runner in the league. Like,
Okay, so that's why I thought you were talking about him previously was the route running part that you were discussing. I was just going to ask you, like, do you have Jamar Chase as the better route runner at this point? But you just said it's JSN for you, correct?
no, I think JSN's a better route runner.
Okay.
I think
I watched a great video about JSN actually on TikTok where they explained that 90% of his work happens at the line of scrimmage with his body language, just the way he carries himself, his pickup speed. It's out of this world elite. Like it's just a different level. Like these guys could try to diagnose what he's doing just by watching his hands, and his hands will give away like, oh, it's a curl or whatever, and then he's off on a go. Like there's no way to read him, and there's not many guys that are able to do it at that level.
Right.
I will ask you this, since I know you always do prospect rankings and everything. I remember our discussions about JSN actually and how high you were on him. Not before everyone else, obviously. I mean, this guy was still a highly touted prospect, but you were on it pretty early. I think you called his ceiling a lot higher than a lot of professional analysts. So I'll give you credit for that. Did you have Jamar Chase as like a generational talent coming out in that draft? Like, do you have him in when we're looking like college to college? Like, did you have him as a higher prospect than JSN?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Like JSN, like I've explained my tiers before. Tier 1's generational to me, like blue chip, true, like take him number 1 overall if you gotta. Tier 2 is like I'd take this guy top 5 if he's at the really top of that tier. You know what I mean? Like really, really superstar kind of guy. Tier 3 is like back end of the first round. Tier 4 is like second round. You know what I mean? Like and onward. JSN was tier 2, which is a really good tier to be in. That's like Tedero McMillan. That's Carnell Tate last year. That's Brian Thomas Jr., all these kind of guys. But JSN was at the very, very, very top, like very top of tier 2. That's what he was for me. So he was like, I viewed him unbelievably high. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like a lot of people, I think, did at the same time. But like conversations got weird because his last year he didn't really play, but that wasn't even his fault. He was injured and whatnot. So it's like the year before that, I mean, he had like one of the greatest Ohio State seasons we've ever seen.
Common theme with these Ohio State receivers, ain't it?
They're just good, man. They're just good.
I just ended up not playing their last season and it being like a big question heading into,
And it's always dumb too, because who cares? Who cares they didn't play the last season? I don't care. Like I don't care, dude. I just don't care. But like, yeah, I had Chase as a generational prospect. I had JSN as like a tier 2 almost at that point, but not exactly. And that's just because I don't think he has like he's like a really good athlete, but he's not like a dominant, explosive, like he's explosive in his own way, but not in the way that like a Chase or like a Neighbors is. You know what I mean? Like that's different. That's different to me. But even regardless, without that, I mean, I was always very high on him. And so that's kind of where I always landed with him. It just kind of depends who you talked to. You know what I mean? Some people I think were a bit higher on him. Some people were a bit lower. But he was always my wide receiver 1 in that class.
Fair.
Yeah, but that's where I've got him. I've got him at 2. At 4, it's a pretty obvious one for me, like Puka. I don't know who you went for 4.
So at 4, I actually had CeeDee Lamb. So that was,
Really?
and I was going to say that my top 3, these are all very close, and this was like the first big drop off for me. Was
really you have Lamb over Puka?
I have Lamb over Puka. I think Lamb is a little bit more dynamic with the idea of what he could do in an offense. If you like, and I'm saying like, if I look at any of the 32 teams, right? Because Puka's body control is amazing. His hands are also very good. His contested catch ability is bar none amazing. But I don't know, man. I think we might be due for a Puka regression this season. That's my take heading into it. I have not loved what I've seen in the offseason. I'm not
I mean,
sure if
that's
you've been
true,
keeping
but
up.
like on the
But at the
field,
same time, I think that he also fell into a perfect situation, and he obviously has natural gifts and abilities and everything too. But I feel like his is more so based on system played around him and the pieces that he's had and been blessed with versus, CD Lamb, who came in, was wide receiver one, has continued to be wide receiver one, and has only gotten better when they've added to that offense, right? Like, look what he did with George Pickens last year. Like he was wide open all the time. You know what I mean? So I think that I would take CeeDee Lamb on any of the 31 other teams as well.
my whole thing with that is I like Lamb. Lamb's injured a lot, and I think
Sure,
along
sure. I think that's a fair point to make.
and Puka can tend to be injured as well, so that's fair. But
Right.
like with Lamb, I think Lamb's great because Lamb's my 5. Lamb's my number
Okay,
5.
okay, okay. That's fair.
But with the case of Puka, I think Puka had the same thing though. Like Puka came in immediately year one was wide receiver one, arguably like top 10. Like he
But
outproduced
Matt
Cooper Cup.
Stafford has this weird thing where he focuses in on people. You know what I mean? Like he
He's
picks his favorites and he
He
decides.
does, but that's because the guys are open. It's not like to me, there's a difference between I'm force feeding by throwing up 50-50 balls versus this dude's just open every time. Like, yeah, they move Puka around the formation, but they do the same thing with Lamb. They do the same exact thing with Lamb. Lamb's moved around the formation. They get him on easy looks. They get him on slants.
Right.
Also, Lamb has a better receiver next to him than Puka does. Devontae Adams is really good, but like Pickens is better than Adams. Like Pickens is better than Adams. Pickens is definitely better than Adams.
Definitely better?
Yes. Devontae Adams at this point in his career is very good, but he's very much like a red zone target.
I borderline had to take Devontae Adams off my list here. Like that guy is still insane.
I love Adams. He shouldn't sniff your top 10.
Now, I understand he has the hamstrings that are starting to pop up here, and
No,
that's
I don't
probably
mind
going
it.
to be
Like
the
Adams
beginning
is
of the
still
end. But
really
at the
good.
same time, like we're still talking about Devontae Adams, right? Like
sure, but like Adams like is like mostly a red zone target. Like he's very good. Like Pickens is like dominant over the whole field.
and this isn't me trying to say that like George
like,
Pickens is bad either, because I will never do that.
I get it. I just don't think it's even a conversation between those two. Like I don't even think it's a conversation.
Well,
like
he's not. Neither of them are on my top 10. So I mean, I don't really have.
Whoa,
to
Pickens isn't on your top 10. Whoa,
Pickens is my 11.
Okay, all right, we'll get into that soon.
Yeah, but yeah. Like, so what I'm trying to say though is, like I just think when I'm looking at, like, okay, like I said at the beginning of the pod, like I didn't know we were thinking about injuries when we were making this list.
You don't have to think about it that hard.
If I'm looking at a pure receiver, pure skill, pure, body type, everything, right? Like archetype of a receiver, CeeDee Lamb is that mold. CeeDee Lamb is that standard, right? So I just think when I'm building my offense, I'm going to take the outside guy that's CeeDee Lamb and not Puka. Not saying Puka can't do it, just saying when I'm looking at this, right? I actually have a couple other people over Puka too that we're going to be talking about.
Okay, then no, stop. Okay, that's bad. I think it's fine if at craziest you got Lamb over him, but Puka should not be any lower than like 4 or 5, man.
I mean, that's just where I'm at. That's not me trying to discredit. Again, like we said at the beginning, like this is just the league's insane.
But Puka's had 3, almost nobody's matched what Puka has done. His first year was incredible. His second year, he still had an incredible year despite injuries. And then his third year, he was unbelievably dominant. I get,
yeah, I love
Puka. Puka is not schemed up anymore. Lamb is schemed up. Like Lamb gets deployed everywhere. They get him on little hitches, and they do the same exact. They do borderline the same thing with him that they do with Puka. And Dak loves Lamb, and it's also like that's. I'm not understanding the logic there. I can't lie.
It's fine that you don't understand the logic.
I think that's like having Jamar Chase at like 6 or something. I think that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, like you're gonna lose me if
Puka's closer to being better than JSN than he is. Puka is closer to being better than JSN than he is worse than Lamb or these other guys. Like Puka's like probably an.
I think that the fall off from 3 to 4 is pretty drastic, but then 4 to like 8, maybe 7 is going to be a lot closer. That you mix and match these guys. To me, I think I can't
get there, man. No.
What number did you have, Lamb?
I had Lamb at 5. I think that's
Okay.
fine, but even then, I considered Lamb lower a little bit right now. But
And
Puka, I
and that's
mean,
fine, right? I'm not sitting here calling you crazy for feeling like,
I
hey,
gotta call you crazy
whoa,
for this one
you
now.
would
I gotta
take
call
this
you
guy
crazy
over
for this
that
one.
guy? Are you insane? Yeah, I'm not looking at pure numbers here. I mean, also that'd be like saying like,
I just even mean dominance. I mean, yards after catch, Puka is fantastic. Puka is probably the second best contested catcher in the league. I mean, like easily. I mean, like just behind Jamar
all
Chase or
his catches
Jefferson.
are contested catches for a reason, though, right? Like that
But
guy
they're
has his
not. But like
shortcomings as well.
they're literally not. He's a really good route runner. He's a dominant ball winner. He's great after the catch. No, dude, no, you're wrong here. Absolutely not. And I'm not even a big Puka guy. I actually thought I'd be on the lower
Could
end.
have fooled me.
I just no, you're way too. I mean, Puka's easily in that like tier with JSN and
I
them like
think all
right
these guys are elite. That's the part where I guess we defer. Is like I'm talking about elite versus elite. I'm not talking about elite versus very good.
Yeah, but like Puka, like has made a definite gap between him and Lamb, man. And we'll have to get into who else you have above him because so
I mean, you
far
can probably name who else I have above him because you're probably going to at least, I mean, I would hope you would at least understand my thought process with
I
it.
understand your thought process. I just think it applies to too many receivers to use them as like negatives against Puka, especially for how dominant Puka
Yeah.
is.
And
Yeah,
again, I'm not even trying to like dog specifically on Puka here. I just think that it's worth mentioning if you're going to talk about like my top 10 pure player, right? Like I'm not even looking at system scheme, anything like that. Like I'm looking
no,
at pure
neither am I.
player.
But I think you're looking at Puka through a lens that his production it comes from mm, for the most part scheme and a good system, but that applies to Lamb just as much. Like that applies to Lamb just as much. He's always been in good offensive infrastructures. He's always had a good quarterback. He's always been peppered with targets. Like that's always been the case for him. Chase has had Burrow his entire career, right? Like most of these guys get schemed up, and Puka isn't like a guy who's schemed up enough contrary to how he wins or gets open to be that negative on him, especially with the kind of years he's had. Like it's like in the way we talk about like Jefferson and Chase is consistent. Puka's been there too. Literally since he came into the league, year 3, every single year he's been playing at like a top 5 level, top 4 level. You can't really say the same about some of these other guys who are also great, but more in that like 7 range, like 8 range. You can't say the same about Puka. Puka's been like in that top 5 range since he came into the league.
And that's fair. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying you're crazy for having him that high. I just think more so like maybe I was just looking at the list from a different lens versus like thinking about the numbers that came along with it.
I'm
And
not even thinking just numbers. I'm just thinking about the player. I mean, like
I think
unbelievable
that
athlete.
I'm not going to say he's overinflated or anything, but there's a reason I expect a regression this year. It's just like
Why?
at some point it has to come. And like I think he's
But it's
starting to.
but like, what's your reason for the regression? Because can't you just say that about Jefferson too? Like he's super consistent. Isn't it going to be his
It's
regression
not about the
now?
consistency part of it. It's in the, what I mean, hey, you saw the video, like what he looked like in the offseason. He looks pretty big right now. I mean, he's kind of holding on some weight and, maybe not working as hard as he was coming in. I mean, there's a reason that dude was drafted in the round that he was drafted in too, right? Like I'm not crazy for
I think
thinking
that's disingenuous. I think that's
it's not
disingenuous.
disingenuous. It's just the fact of like I'm just mentioning like it's not like I'm the only one here. Like, hey, I have him in my top 10. I'm not saying you're saying he's not in my
I
top
mean,
10.
yeah, but what I'm saying is
Like we're not talking about like us having like a difference of opinion on like Amon-Ra St. Brown right now, where he might not even be in
he's
yours.
but that's the thing. Like Puka's like pretty solidified in that top 5, 4. So it's kind of like if you had like
I
Chase
don't
at
know.
6. He is, man. He like undoubtedly is.
I guess
I
we'll
mean,
see who you have at 5 and 6 before I like. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm because I might start feeling a little crazy. I told you, like I've made this list 4 times. Like,
yeah. This
like
is
I said, like this
so
is
far
just
I
these
think
are
we're on the
really
same
really
page.
good receivers.
I know, but like I said, it's kind of like if you had Chase at 6 and it's like, well, we got a lot of good receivers. It's
I
like, yeah,
don't I don't see it as that drastic of a difference
but
here.
it
I
is that
really
though,
don't.
man. He's been
Maybe to
like
you,
more.
but like to me, I think that's disingenuous. Is like
No, it's
basically
not. No,
that's
it's
borderline
not.
saying someone doesn't know
Puka's
ball.
absolutely closer to Chase and those guys than he is Lamb in the next tier down. He absolutely is. I think the problem is I think you're overinflating how much scheme and good like system are helping a guy who is just dominant on his own. like is just dominant on his own. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
no, maybe.
it is. No, it
Maybe,
is. You
maybe.
are. You are. You are.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I can let you think whatever you want to think here. This is
You're wrong here. That's what I'm gonna say. This is the one take I'll go. This is too crazy for me. This is too crazy for me. And I thought I would be lower on Puka because some people think he's 3, and some people think he's like. I thought I was gonna be lower on Puka. You know what I mean? But
maybe I'm
you
lower on Puka than I thought here. I
you might be
thought
the
that maybe
lowest
I
on
was.
Puka of consensus people I've seen. I'll tell you that. Like he's like pretty consensus top 4, top 3. Oof, bad take, Shane Kelly. Bad take, but we'll keep continuing. We'll keep continuing. We'll keep continuing. For my 6th spot, because we've established you've got Lamb at 4,
Yeah,
and
but I didn't tell you my 5.
right. Who's your 5?
I have Garrett Wilson at 5.
Really?
I have Garrett Wilson at 5. I think that's someone who has been criminally, like, I'm not going to call it like a murder or anything of a career right now, but like that guy has been plagued with QB play and systems that have just been like abysmal for his style. He still finds a way to shine and stand out in very, very bad quarterback play. And I think that if you put him on the Rams right now, that guy's going 17, 50, 12 touchdowns minimum. Like that's the kind of player I think Garrett Wilson is. I'm assuming you have him a lot lower.
What do
I
you think? What do you think I'm gonna say?
what do you? I don't know. Something about the footwork, maybe. I don't know.
I don't.
Injuries.
No, I don't have a problem with this take. The reason I thought I was going to be too high on Garrett Wilson, because I have Garrett Wilson at 10, and
Wow.
I had to stop myself from going like really, 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 really high. That's I'm kind of just I'm more like wow, I didn't think you'd be coming from that angle. I
Oh,
like
I've
it.
always thought that Garrett Wilson was at that tier, and I think if
Me
anything,
too.
he's shown that he's better as he's gotten older too. Like he's picked up things since he's gotten into the league that I think are criminally underrated at this point. I think
No,
everyone just assumes he's going to be good, not great, and that's why he's put so low on these lists. But like these are the kind of names that I was thinking of, like versus like and that's why like I'm not gonna say Puka got lost in the shuffle or anything. I still think again he's amazing, but like these are like this guy needs more credit than he gets. Absolutely.
no, I agree. I mean, I thought like I said, like I thought I would be because when I was talking about Stay Hot, Theo had Wilson at 10, and so did I, and I was like, okay, I'm not crazy,
Yeah.
right? But I would have, I like, I mean, like maybe like a year or two ago, I had Wilson as high as like 7, and literally, it's not even because like he's not that good, he's gone down. It's literally just like there's a lot of good guys. Like I really could argue Wilson really, really high, like really, 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 really high. So I don't hate this take. I just was shocked because I didn't think you'd come from that angle because that's like what my heart tells me is like Wilson's like 5 or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, and I guess maybe I went with my heart with because like I also don't consume as much ball in the off season as you do. Like I'll give you all the credit in the world on that. I just there's not enough time in the day for me to consume it at the level that you do, and maybe I do need to brush up on it a little bit more. But when I'm looking at film of these guys and I'm watching anything. It could be just tape of that specific player or tape of a specific offense. Like Garrett Wilson, especially someone I'm always like, how are they not getting him the ball? How are they not seeing him? I don't
Yeah,
understand how this
yeah.
guy is constantly getting like 3 or 4 catches a game and not 12. Like it just makes no sense to me.
No, I agree with literally everything. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, I think he's an unbelievably jittery route runner. I think he has that like twitch to him that like not a lot of people have. It's a little bit similar to what Neighbors has. It's why I thought they were kind of similar in certain ways coming out. Um, Garrett is this kind of guy that like he's like a good litmus test for if you understand route running because he's like a guy that takes a lot of extra steps during the stems of his routes. And some people will be like, you don't want to do that. Like you want to keep it as simple as possible. You want to get in and out of your breaks. That's true. But like also we're talking about that for guys who aren't the athlete that Garrett Wilson is, right? Sorry.
Yes,
And it's
exactly.
and it's like Garrett Wilson can do all these little subtle steps that are gonna move onto a guy's blind side on this little move with his left foot, and then that's enough for him to break off with acceleration, high point the ball, and win. Like he just can do that because he's a better athlete than you. I'm sorry, and so it's like, yeah, like I mean, again, I wouldn't put Wilson over Puka. Like I, listen, in a perfect world where Wilson has like a good quarterback, like if you put Wilson on the Dallas Cowboys, they move on from Pickens and Lamb. Let's say it's just a situation like that. Yeah, I agree. I think he's probably going like top 3, top 4, top 5. But like obviously it just becomes a lot of he said, she said, right? I don't want to
Right,
become
butterfly effect. I got
right.
you.
I don't want
I
to become
understand.
too much of if man. You know what I mean? But I really do. I really do like think that's the case for Wilson. Like I really like the way I feel about JSN and that emergence is the same exact thing for Wilson. I think Wilson could easily have a year like that. Easily.
Hundred
So
percent.
yeah.
All he needs is the quarterback that trusts him. Like that's all he needs, and to stay healthy. But
Also,
that's a
to not
different discussion.
also, I think his health for the most part is fine. I think this year was the only year he really got injured. Like for the most part, he's been very. I don't think
Yeah.
he's really missed games. But like, yeah, man. I do agree with that. Like, I can't put him over Puka though. I mean, I can't do
Okay.
that.
You know, if I'm gonna relook at my list here, you can drop my 5 and my 6, and then I'll put Puka up at 5. Like I'll do
Fairs,
that. Like and I'm fine
fairs.
with that. Like after this discussion, I'm fine with that. You
Yeah.
know, but this again, I'm just a guy. So, you know, who cares what I
I,
say?
I didn't expect us to both kind of be on the same page about Wilson like that. I thought I was going to be a bit more of like a, well, I got to explain myself why he's in the top 10.
Well, then I
Uh,
think I think you might. I don't know. We'll see what you think of my 6 then. Well, my previous 6, now my 7, but
okay. Okay. So your previous 6, now you're 7. Who's that?
I have Malik Neighbors.
We're like, okay. Okay, yeah, okay, never mind then. Yeah. See, the two guys so let me I'll spoil it. Just Neighbors isn't in my top 10, not at all because of talent though. It's
Oh,
purely just
okay.
because the injury and I just want to see. It's literally just like I kind of have him like I have him like idled. Like it's literally like if I put him in my list, for example, if he was already at training camp right now and I was like, okay, he's fine, he'd be like 5 or 4. I'm gonna be like, I genuinely think if he kept up the pace he was on, like and didn't get injured, I think we would have been talking about him top 3. I think we would have been there. I would have put Neighbors as high as like 5 or 4. I'm like so serious. So like he's literally only not on my list. He would in every other circumstance. He's only not on my list because I want to see what happens after injury. I think he'll be fine. I really do. I've kind of looked into a lot of the health of it, and like I do think he'll be fine. It might just be like a tough year this year.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I want to let you continue on it. It's just funny because Garrett and Neighbors were like the two guys where I'm like, oh, am I gonna seem like I'm too high on them? So I'm glad to see we're on the same page there. But continue.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Neighbors, right? There's a reason this guy was seen as like a generational talent when he was coming out. This guy can do everything you need, and I'm including like blocking and everything in there. Like this guy's footwork is crazy. You know, I'm not gonna put him at JSN tier with the route running. Maybe post ACL, it's gonna look a little different, but like at the very least, this guy is going to make noise in you know, the blocking game as well. But his hands
Right.
are top tier. He catches everything. I mean, he very like he's had like what like that one big drop in that fourth quarter that we talked about, and it's just like whatever, like that
He
nothing burger of a game. But at
he
the
has
same time,
he has drops, man, but they're like it's like the kind of drops that's like, I don't care. This dude just went for like 150.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
care. I don't
like yeah, you
care.
get 15
Yeah.
targets in a game. Like they're not all going to be amazing, amazing
Yeah.
throws, and obviously there's a number of factors to it. But I think that I mean, his top end speed is insane for his size as well. Like, I think that that's a very underrated part of his game at this point, too. And it's
Yeah.
something that teams are actually starting to respect a little bit more when he's out there playing the corner a little further off because they know that he can jam offline and do whatever is needed in that offense. And I think that once he does get healthy, I think, I mean, I just remembered who the offensive coordinator is, but I think that, you know, we could still see a big change in his game for the positive, though, too, because I think now that him and Dart like are like this is established, like this is the guy. Okay, that's also your receiver. So let's get him the ball.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like I said, like if I didn't have him in this kind of weird like idled
Yeah.
spot, which
TBD.
again, yeah, like it literally has nothing to do with talent. Like it has nothing to do with it's like it's not like I have him ranked 11th or something. I just literally didn't include him in my list at all
Yeah.
because I'm like, you're in an area where like I know what I think of you. I just want to wait. You know what I mean? I just want to
Yeah.
see. But like easily, if you're asking me like my now rank him now, it's like 5 or 4, like without a doubt, Like I think last year he was like top 6. I think last year he was maybe like top 6. And I mean, if you're talking about the play, I mean, like he's not even that refined of a route runner yet, and he just keeps getting better at it, and he's just
Exactly.
so elastic as a route runner. I mean, truly. I mean, I think of that route against Washington week 1 this year where he like crossed his feet over as he hit their blind side and went out for an
Yeah.
out route. They played it everywhere. Like that route
I was
was
just gonna say, I was like, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about because I
this
think everyone
disgusting.
online went nuts.
It was disgusting. And like and the play that sticks in my head forever is he is so acrobatic. That's a superpower. He's the most acrobatic player in the league, in my opinion. I mean, he gets so high up there. It's like he boxes guys out. Like I was listening to Corey Kinnaman talk, and he's just talking about receiver, and he says a big pet peeve of his about receivers is receivers that go up for the ball in contested catch situations when they don't need to. When it's like you can just let the ball fall to you, that's better because once you do that, you make yourself more prone and vulnerable to attacks from the sides. My whole thing with that, though, if you're an athlete like Neighbors, that doesn't matter. If you're leaping so high above a guy that all they can do is just try to like smack your back in midair, like you've won, man. Like, and that's what Neighbors does. I remember against the Colts, that was one of the most dominant games I've ever seen. You remember the Cleveland game in particular? It was like week 3 last year, it was like back of the end zone. They throw it up to him, and he does like a 360 in midair. Do you know what I'm talking about? He like
No, I need to look that
literally
up because that sounds
you
crazy.
haven't seen that one where he's in the back of the
Oh,
end
I'm
zone
sure I've
and he
seen it.
has
I
to
just
like
can't think of it
leap
off the
up
top of
for
my
it
head.
like this, and he like flips around and gets his feet down. He like does like a spin in midair.
I remember what you're talking about now. Yes.
That's like one of the most incredible catches I've ever seen. That's one of the most incredible catches I've ever seen because it's literally soaring past him and he's literally doing like a Power Ranger move in midair. Like, and so it's like stuff like that where it's like, yeah, man, like I I really do think if he gets back to full health, which I think he will, I just think this year might be a little bit like, a little rough, but like I think he's like gonna hit that. I think he was on his way to that Chase Jefferson tier with JSN. Like I think I think that's where he was going very easily.
I think it'd be
So it's like
foolish to not think that he's, on track, pending how it looks after the ACL. But,
I think he'll be fine.
prior to.
I do think he'll be fine. I really do think he'll be fine. I just think this year he could be a little bit rough, but I think he looks fine. Like I've seen some people being like, oh, like there's like a video of him at like a baseball game, and it was like he like kind of shrugged out there, but like he like very obviously like was not like that. That was weird because it was very obvious to me he wasn't like running like that because he was in like pain. He was running like that because he didn't want to like overdo his leg brace. Like
Right.
it's not like he was running like that because it's like man he's not healing right. It's like he was running like that because he's like, I want to make sure I'm not doing a lot. Like that wasn't like that wasn't as concerning as people made that out to be. I was like, I feel like that's fine. Like he's just trying
Right.
not to overdo it. Because then you saw him earlier in that game where he's just playing dodgeball and his knees were moving. He was moving, man. I was watching him. I was like,
I was stressed watching it. I'm like, why are we doing this? Did the agent
yeah.
know about this?
But apparently his doctor said that's fine, which is a good
I
thing.
would hope so, but golly, I still can't help but get a little nervous when I see
Well, the
these
big
guys.
thing with him wasn't the ACL; it was the meniscus because he tore his meniscus
Right.
as well. So that was the big thing. But it seems like he's doing well. So I think he'll get back to form. It might just take a second. But I completely agree with you here. Like I think we're in the same ballpark. My number 6 is a guy that like I think has just earned his title here, even though I don't believe him to be this high of a player. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he's a
Okay.
very dominant receiver. I think he's earned his title in the top 10.
Yeah.
I think he's a very specific player. I think he's a incredible intermediate target, and I think he's got good yak and all that kind of stuff. So it's like a position where it's like, ah, man, in like a different world, I probably have neighbors here. But I do like Brown a lot. You give me the vibe that you might be a little bit lower on Brown, which might be
I
right.
gotta tell you, I really thought you would have had him not on your top 10. Like
I
I
thought
thought
about it.
I would have him on my list, and I didn't think you were gonna have him. I
I
thought
almost
you were
didn't.
gonna have him like a little. I thought he'd be like 12 or 13 for you.
He'd
Like I
be like
really
11.
did.
Yeah, he'd be like 11. Like I almost was to that point. It really just is. I don't think he has the vertical level of dominant like play. Like I don't think he's necessarily like a deep vertical separator. I don't think he's necessarily like a deep vertical like ball winner at that level. I don't think he's necessarily like a burner with speed or some unbelievably elusive route runner. Really good route runner, very powerful, very strong, very great in the intermediate. I just think there's like a cap limit on kind of who he is, and that's okay. That's fine. But like that's kind of why I end up being in that area where I'm like, oh, I almost would have taken him off. But I don't know how you feel.
I have him in my top 10 as well, but I thought we'd be discussing him a little bit later than we are right now.
Yeah.
I think he's fantastic. But
Mhm.
like you said, I'm not going to call him like a one trick pony or anything like that, but I think he's a lot more limited than some of the other guys that we've discussed. Like he has already hit his ceiling with capability. Like you're not
Yeah.
going to see a different level of his game pop up at some point now. Like people kind of know how to put a cap on him and control what he can do.
Right, 100%. Like, there's just not really that much different that's going to happen. But dominant, he's one of those guys that I would be so curious to just see in a different environment. Like, I just like not in the sense that I think he'd get worse, but like just an environment that's like, you know what, just throw him on some posts. Let's just kind of like do something different with him. Like, I really like he's one of those guys that's like, I am so curious to see like how a different offense would use you. Like, I think it would
Yeah.
work really well. I'm just curious. So yeah, that's where I lean on Brown. Next is 7. Who do you have at 7?
So we've
Or I
already
guess into your
discussed
8.
my 5, 6, 7, so we can
Yeah,
just go right into your 7 here.
got George Pickens. We got George Pickens, who you said you don't even have on the
I
list.
don't have on my top 10, so this is very curious to me because again, this isn't again a slight at him. I think he's a fantastic player. I think that again, when I'm looking at Pickens as a player, like he's a freak, but I don't know. I think there's some other guys better than him, and it's not necessarily like in like a he's way down here and has to do X, Y, and Z to get higher. I just think some other guys are just better. I think the one big, I'm not saying glaring, but the one issue with Pickens' game that I've always had since he was a Steeler is the simple stuff. Like I watched a lot of Pickens back in my day. And there was just times, man, the mental lapses are just very, very frustrating to see play out. I know it happened a couple times while he was in Dallas too, with like simple crossers or just a little screenplay or something, dude, where he looks up too fast or he just isn't loving the play call, so he's not giving full effort, and it turns into a couple yard loss versus maybe getting back to the line of scrimmage or a couple yards further. He's very much a me first guy in that regard. I think it does show when he's playing as well. It's not necessarily like, oh, look what he's doing off the field. I think it shows up when he plays as well. I think he's very, very much worried about his own stats and how he looks out there. But the other
Mhm.
big part, and I'm not sure if you'll agree with this part, but I think that, the reason he gets so much recognition for his ability to catch, contested catches. Everyone talks about that with him because he has no breakaway speed. He's never off the line beating somebody. They're always on his hip, and he has to make that catch. And that
I
goes again back to college with him. Like that's always been a very, very big issue with him. I don't think his route running's gotten better since then. But again, very, very, very good at everything that he is able to do, which does put him top 15 for me. But I can't get behind top 10 personally. But I do understand it.
Where I end up differing is I think you're underrating him as a route runner a lot. I think he is a lot of route running chops that like he does not get a lot of credit for. Like I really do think this year that he really took it up a notch. I think he was really, really good against man coverage, like really, really good. Like unbelievable. Like press, he literally just can't get stopped against press. Like you can't stop him against press. Like he was so great against press. I think this year he got better against zone. And I just think overall, like as dominant as you could be of like a physical guy when it comes to like the break of the stem, like I just think that he's so underrated. I think he's probably the most underrated route runner in the league, to be honest with you. I think people do not give him his credit for that. But
I
I think
have
he was
one that we'll discuss here shortly that I'm not sure you'll agree with that I think is the underrated route runner, but I'll let you finish your point.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
He was dominant on slants this year. I mean, like truly, like I do think he gets really underrated when it comes to his route running. Like I do think it's not this. People see guys who do contested catches a lot, and they're like, well, "Why is it contested catches all the time?" And it's like, well, sometimes it's the player, and sometimes it's just the quarterback because they know there's a difference between I'm throwing 50-50 balls because you can't get open, and there's a difference between that and I'm throwing 50-50 balls because I know you'll win them, right? Like there's a difference between I'm gonna throw this because man, he's just not getting open, so I just gotta get it one way or another, versus being like, I'm just gonna throw it because like he's there. Like you know what I mean? Like he's there. Like that's what they
Yeah.
do with Chase.
Right.
That's what they do with it's the case with Puka. It's absolutely the case with Pickens. There are so many times that he's dominating guys on slants and in breakers and all these things. Like I think his burst is really underrated. Like I really do think it is. I just think he really got tired of being in Pittsburgh. I really do just think he like it became like an AJ Brown kind of thing where he's like, I'm not even gonna try. You know what I mean? I really do. I really do think it was that because like there was a different switch in him in Dallas, man. It really, really was. So I do think he's really underrated in that because I think his release package is great. I think his release package is really good. I think he's really good at using that like outside foot release to simulate like going on a go route and all that kind of stuff. It's really good at manipulating defenders and flipping their hips and all that kind of stuff. Like I think he's become very underrated in terms of the savviness of the game. So
I think that's all fair. Do you agree with me on the mental lapses?
yeah, but they happen so far and few between compared to the level of player he is that I just kind of don't care. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's probably like a coaching problem, but it's like if you don't want him, there's plenty of teams that'll take him. Yeah, it's the kind of thing where it's like,
Oh,
hey,
Jeff.
it's like, hey, if that's a gripe for you, that's fine. We'll take him off your hands. You know, it's like, all right, we'll take him. So that's where I end up on Pickens. I think he's got to be in the top 10. Got to be.
I have him just outside, but I totally understand the thought process. I really do.
Who's your next one?
So this is who I was going to say I feel like has an underrated package, and that's Drake London. I have him at
Okay,
my,
fair. Yeah.
and I think that this is somebody that okay, so clearly he's on your list too because you already had
He's
that pre-made.
London's at my 9. London's at
Okay,
my 9.
okay,
Yeah.
I can live with that then. I think this is a guy that got Arthur Smith at the beginning of his career here, where it's like I can't give the ball to my best weapon. That's what everyone expects me to do.
Yeah.
And so you didn't really get to see like him at his full capacity. But once Raheem Morris got in there, that was the first you really saw like, oh yeah, this guy's really, really good. You know, because he had his flashes before that, but that's really when he opened up. And I think the one thing that they've really expanded on with him is his route tree and him letting himself create like the ability to get open and everything. Like he has separation ability that I think not a lot of people discuss with him, while also having very, very good hands, being very, very reliable.
I thought he was top 10 last year too. I thought he was top 10 last year too.
I think that's when he first showed it, right? Was like once he got away from Arthur Smith, that's when he really
I think
started to.
my hot take is I kind of think he always showed it. I was always really high on London. I was always London, Olave, and Garrett Wilson for me were tier 1 prospects. Like I liked all three of those guys more
Yeah.
than I liked Carnell Tate or any of these guys. I liked all three of those guys more than I liked JSN. like I did. They were really, really,
Wow.
really. They were really good, man. They were really,
Yeah.
really, really good. And
It was just
like
nice to see him have the numbers to back up that argument, though. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like it
yeah,
was
which
almost like
I always knew was the
vindicating.
case. Like he was dominating out there. He just was on a bad team. You know what I mean? Like that's really it. But yeah, 100%. Continue.
Yeah, so I think like for me it was I also thought he was always very good. Like he would have these flashes, but it was good to see it in the national media perspective. Like, oh yeah, this guy is a wide receiver one. Oh yeah, we probably should start to build around this guy. And he got paid this offseason and rightfully
Yep.
so. They're starting to recognize this is a top tier talent, so let's give him top tier money here.
Right, 100%. So yeah, I'm completely with you on London. I mean, like that's I could have gone higher. Like I really do feel that highly about London. And that's
Mhm.
your what now? That's your
That
8.
was my 8. That was my 8.
Yeah, he was my 9.
Your 9. So who's your 8?
My eight's Nico Collins. My eight's Nico
Okay.
Collins. He should be
Okay.
higher. Frankly, he should probably be like top 6, top 5. Like he's unbelievably dominant. It really just is injuries for me sometimes, but like, man, I mean, for him to move the way he does at that size is ridiculous. Like it's just straight up ridiculous. Elite contested catcher, really, really, really underrated route runner. Like he's probably a top 7 route runner, honestly. Like he really, really is. He has such good burst, such good acceleration, elite body control. I mean, Nico is like exactly what you want out of a dominant X receiver in like the modern day, man. He should be so much higher, honestly. He should be so much higher. Like there's a world he's like top 5, top 4, like really, honestly. So I don't. Was Nico in your top 10?
Nico is not in my top 10, and it's not because I don't think he deserves to be. It's what you just said. It was thinking about the injuries. That's probably the only one of two that I actually considered injuries when I was thinking about this list. But I think that dude's a freak, dude. Like, he is amazing. So I knew he'd be on here. I knew we'd get to talk about him. I didn't mean it as a slight. It was just, when I'm looking at my list, I was like, where do I put him? How do I justify that when I'm saying something else for the other guy? Like, it was more so about that angle, but I think this guy's amazing. If he continues to stay healthy, like you said, I mean, maybe it's top 5 discussion, not just being in the top 10.
I think he was top 5 last year. I thought he was top 5 the year before that. I think he's been top 5 for a minute. It really just is.
So why is he low on your list then?
It's just injuries. It really just is injuries.
Yeah.
Like I just want to see him come back from that. That's really it.
Yeah.
It's also just that every year this group gets more crowded. It's not like guys fall off.
100%.
It's literally for me never that guys fall off. It's just that more guys rise up. Like because before it used to be really easy to say these guys, but then it's like okay, Pickens breaks out, and now he's in that kind of category with them. Okay, but then you can make the argument about Garrett, and then it becomes this thing where it's like okay, now there's a lot of guys in this tier that it becomes hard. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it really is just that. You know what I mean? Like it's not. It's just there's a lot of risers truly at its core. But
100%.
Who's your 9?
My 9 is Amon-Ra St. Brown. So that's where, I do have him in my top 10, but like we talked about, like I just feel like he's a little bit more limited than the other guys. But
For sure.
I think he's an amazing player. And when he's on, like there's not many people that can stop him, but they've kind of figured out a way to stop him in recent memory. So we'll see if that continues as a trend or if that was more so just a one-off while trying to adjust under a new offensive scheme.
Yeah, 100%. And then who's your 10?
So my 10, and this is the only other time I considered injuries, and that's Chris Olave, who I think could be, I think that he could be arguably higher, but the concussions scare me. They really do. And I think that in this offense, though, I think that we're going to see another level of him. I think we're going to see him show up in the stat sheet a little bit more, and that he's going to start getting more recognition. Like, this guy's pretty good, as long as he can stay healthy. That's the big caveat with him.
You looked at me really surprised when I said I had the 3 2022 guys in tier 1, but you got all 3 of them in the top 10. Which I don't disagree with. Like I think that's a good
I'll just be making faces, Jack. You can't read into it.
But I think that's a good take, man. I think it's a good take for real. I really do. Like Olave's not my top 10, but he's like right in that fringe. Like, I would consider this. You know what I mean? Like, right. I think that's a really good take. I really do think it really just is like, just get healthy. You know what I mean? Just get healthy.
Just get healthy, please.
he easily, like unbelievably crisp route runner, so smooth. Like if we want to transition into just like the final bit of this, just honorable mentions, like just guys you considered in that fringe spot. Like Olave would have been one for me. I don't know what others you had.
For me, like in my honorable mention slot, well, who's your 10 first of all?
My 10 was Garrett Wilson. My 10 was
Garrett. Okay, your 10 was okay. So Garrett Wilson was in your top 10. Okay, we're gonna have to like have in the bio of this like our list so people can like see what we were saying. So like, wait, what was your 6? What was your 8?
Yeah. I'll list them out.
For me, to get back to that, sorry to switch topic, but I think AJ Brown is right there for me. George Pickens was right there for me as well. Nico Collins, guys like that. But AJ Brown was probably the one that I really was like, do I leave him off? Do I not? Like, I was really on the fence for him, especially Nico Collins. I'd kind of decided like, I'm just really worried about the hamstrings here. And so like that, those were the two big ones for me. But there's definitely some other names. Like I said, like you said, there's about 20 guys that, are interchangeable that you can argue should be right at fringe top 10.
And we're gonna make a video soon that I kind of pitched this idea to you, but the idea is basically talking about who do we think will be the next kind of like risers in certain categories for receivers. So like we'll go over like who we think will be the next JSN, which doesn't mean we think they'll have that exact kind of breakout, but that kind of breakout. Like a guy you think goes from like, let's say fringe top 10 to like top of the tier, which I have some.
Chris Olave.
Is that really one you'd consider? Like you would
If he
consider
stays healthy, absolutely.
like top, like you could see a world where he ends up like top 3.
I could
Top
see him taking out CD Lamb for my 4.
I'm not necessarily against that, but I'd have to sit on it. But like, I like the take. I like the take. I do like that one. But like, yeah, like stuff like that, or even saying like, who will be the next Pickens, or it's like maybe not necessarily like top 3. Like that's where I would go with Olave. I can see
And
him in the next
okay, and then if I'm looking at like the next Pickens, like someone that could end up
Jalen
fringe,
Waddle.
like Brian Thomas Jr. would be someone that comes to mind for
Does
me.
does he count if he already kind of was at that point and then just had a
Well, I
weird
feel like Pickens
year?
was already kind of at that point then, right? Like Pickens was very
I,
good.
I think Pickens was always in that like top 15 level, and I think now he's in that top 6. Whereas
So
it's like
I think Brian Thomas Jr. if he can just catch the freaking ball, I
I,
think that
I agree he will. I just wonder if I consider it that category just because it's like I already kind of consider BTJ there just having like a weird moment. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like it's
So is BTJ like an honorable mention then for you then, or
I
would you
thought
say he's
BTJ
a
was
little bit
top 10
more?
last year. Like I thought he was in that 9 to 10 spot. You know what I mean? It's just
Okay,
it's weird right now because you just want to see him like figure it out. You know what I mean? Right
catch the
now.
ball, catch
Yeah.
the ball.
Yeah. So it's like it's weird, but like, Jalen Waddle, I think will be in that category soon. I really
Oh
do.
yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, especially
Sleeper,
going to
a bit of a
Denver.
sleeper like that. That trade, I mean, that was a big trade too, and it's just
Yeah.
been kind of thrown under the rug. That guy
Yeah.
can make real noise. Him and Cortland Sutton.
Oh,
Cortland
for sure.
Sutton's another guy that I feel like is a little bit more underrated than people, give him credit for. I'm not going to say he's top 10 or even top 15, but he is a good receiver.
Good X receiver. Good X receiver. And then like probably Devonta Smith. I mean, like he's always been kind
A
of
lot of questions being asked about Smith right now.
I
How is he
have
going to
no.
handle
I'll
that?
tell you, I have no questions. I know the tape. He's gonna be legit. Like he's got it. He's got it. Like I'm not worried about Devonta Smith at all, to be honest with you. People are like, can he be the one? I'm like, yes. Yeah. Like,
Next
yeah.
question.
Yeah. Next question. Got anything more interesting? Like yeah. Like it's like
Where do you have him then? Like on your list, like Devonta Smith, is he
he'd
like
be probably an honorable
15?
14, maybe 14, something like that. 14, 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Somewhere
mean,
around
we're
that.
kind of thinking the same way with him then. I mean, I definitely think he's very, very good. As a wide receiver
For sure.
one, I think he's very, very good.
Yes, 100%. And so we'll see how that kind of plays out. But yeah, you guys, that's our lists. I'll obviously put them down in the description so it's a bit more clear. But it's fun going this way. That way we can kind of figure out where we land in terms
Yeah.
of like, spacing on this. But yeah, man, that was a fun one for sure. But yeah, we'll have you guys tune in next time. Like I said, we're gonna go through the top 10s of basically every position, and then we'll have some conversations, like I said, of going over like what kind of risers are we looking at next year and all that. So yeah, we appreciate you guys watching. If you went all the way through, please click that like button. It helps us out a lot. And yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one.
Thanks,
Till
guys.
next time. That's a